Hello everyone. Good morning, good evening. My name is Kumar Satyendra. Okay, and this is the second video for NetApp storage interview questions and answers. Okay, so today we are going to talk about one question that is very popular, that is a NetApp 7 mode on tap and then cluster mode on tap differences. Yeah. So we are going to talk about the key differences between 7 mode and the cluster mode data on tap in NetApp, right? The first point that we are going to cover about the architecture. Okay, so 7 mode architecture is a traditional and controller based architecture. Okay, each controller is managed independently. Okay, and high availability paired but limited scalability. Okay, there are two controllers are in one system, and that is in pair, that is HA pair. Okay, and that is the maximum controller you can have in one system, right? And both the controllers can be managed independently. Okay, so there is a traditional controller based architecture in the 7 mode, and in the cluster mode there is a cluster based architecture. Okay, you can have one cluster, and inside the one cluster you can have multiple nodes. It's up to 24 nodes you can scale out. Okay, that it depends upon the model and platforms. You can scale out up to 24 nodes, but in the 7 mode you can only have two controllers maximum. Right, you can scale out, but that will be treated as a separate system. Right, one HA pair separate and this HA pair separate. Okay, so every configuration you have to do separately. That will be treated as different system, and that is super inconvenient for the administrator and the company as well. But it does not happen in the cluster mode. There is a one. If you have a 24 nodes, you can have in one cluster, and you can manage one cluster by accessing one IP. That is a one cluster management IP, and you access the cluster, and you can manage all the nodes. Okay, so there is a scalability. Okay, so this is the difference about the architecture. Second difference that we are going to talk about the management. Okay, 7 mode can be managed by filer view and on command system manager. The very initial level version supports filer view. This is the graphical user interface. Okay, on command system manager also supported. This is also a graphical user interface. The, in 7 mode there is a suite. You have to download that and configure your controllers so you can manage. So this is the graphical user interface that you can manage by filer view and on command system manager and command line interface as well. Okay, but all the nodes, all the controllers, okay, was managed separately. The cluster mode, it does not happen. Okay, there is a one single namespace. Okay, okay, it can be managed by on command system manager, command line interface, and the REST API. Okay, so if you have object storage, okay, then you can access that via REST API, command line interface, and on command system manager as well. So this on command system manager was supported in few older version. Now in the latest version, there is a ONTAP system manager. Okay, the ONTAP system manager, the newer term of on command system manager, and these are the graphical user interface. Via this, you can access your cluster and you can do the administration, you can do the management, you can do the decommission, you can do modification, you can do upgrade, right? Command line interface as well. So you can access the putty or any tool, and you can access the command line interface. Okay. Okay, easier central management for large environment. This is very easy to manage if you have a large environment. Okay, this can be managed centrally. Okay, next one is a namespace. Okay, then 7 mode volume are mounted directly on junctions. No global namespace. Okay, each volume has its own namespace. It does not happen in cluster mode. There is a global namespace. Okay, that is storage virtual machine. So at the time of the storage virtual machine creation, there is a root volume is created that defines the namespace. And that root defines the architecture, hierarchy of the directory. Okay, so whatever volume you are creating, normal data volume, that will come after root. Slash that root, then volume name. This is the path. Okay, and that path is known as a junction path. Okay, all the data is accessed through a single logical namespace. Okay, so data will be accessed via that path, that namespace. If you don't have a junction path namespace, your data will not be accessed. All right. Next one is scalability. Okay, the main difference of the 7 mode and cluster mode is scalability. Right, so 7 mode has a limited to HA pair. Okay, there is a one HA pair and only two controllers have that one. If you want to scale that out, you cannot. You can scale that out, but that will be treated as a different and separate system. Again, you have to manage different separately, and this is a super inconvenient, right? But what is happening in the cluster mode? In the cluster mode, okay, so multiple HA pair in single cluster you can have. You have a one cluster, right? In one cluster you can have a 12 HA pair maximum, right? Okay, if you have a two node cluster, you can have a four node cluster. Non-disruptive, you can add the nodes that you can scale out. Okay, in the 7 mode, you can have maximum two controllers. The cluster mode, you can have 24 nodes. If there is a NAS environment, then you can have a 24 nodes. If you have a 24 nodes and 12 HA, you can say. If you have a SAN environment, you can have 12 nodes and 6 HA pair. If you have a unified storage, SAN NAS, right? Then also you can use a 12 nodes and 6 HA pair. Okay, is high availability in the failover. Okay, HA is a node pair label only. Okay, there's a HA, so node pair label only. Okay, limited flexibility in the flex failover. Okay, in the cluster mode, there's a cluster wide HA and non-disruptive operation happen. It support volume move and the lift migration. You want to move the volume, okay, you can move. You can migrate the leaf, this IP, you can migrate. You can move the IP without downtime. Okay, non-disruptive operation. Data access, 7 mode, export and shares tied with the physical controllers. Okay, but in the cluster mode, data access through the logical interface, and that can move across the node non-disturb. Okay, protocols in the 7 mode. 7 mode supports SIPs and NFS for NAS, iSCSI FCP for SAN. Okay, and no concept of the SVM or vServer. Okay, so similar protocols is supported by the cluster mode as well. Okay, but there is a concept of the SVM. SVM and vServer both are same things. Okay, when you're going to use the graphical user interface, there you can find SVM. And if you're using the command line interface, you can find vServer, right? The name will be there. Okay, but meaning is same. Okay, so each SVM act like a virtual filer for security and isolation. Why do we have that SVM? For the multi-tenancy and data security. You have multiple departments. You want HR department cannot see the finance department data. For that purpose, you can have that multi-tenancy. Upgraded NDO, non-disruptive operation. The 7 mode upgrade is disruptive. You have to take the downtime for that. The cluster mode, there is a non-disruptive operation, right? Nowadays, there is an automated non-disruptive. Okay, so there is no downtime is required. During the upgrade, data is still available. Okay, okay, so use cases for the 7 mode and C mode. Best for a small medium environment with simple setup. Now considered as a legacy and no longer actively developed. Yes, this is not being developed now. Okay, I believe there is no support also end of life, but that product is still there in the market. Few companies are still holding. There may be some dependency on the application and hardware. Okay, C mode is modern enterprise storage solution based for the large scalable multi-tenant environments, actively supported and enhanced by NetApp. The NetApp is focusing on the ONTAP cluster mode only. Okay. In short, 7 mode is a legacy controller based and limited scaled. Cluster mode is clustered. Cluster concept is there. Scalable, non-disruptive, and future-proof. Okay. So in the 7 mode, you can see that shell filer and then filer after filer there is a greater than sign is there. Greater than symbol. In cluster mode, you can find double double colon and then greater than sign symbol. Okay. So this is the identification. Here you can see clearly filer and then greater than sign. A cluster double colon and greater than sign. One more difference is that there is a root. Super user is the root in the 7 mode, right? And super user in the cluster mode is admin. Okay, super user, local user. In cluster mode, there is a admin, and the 7 mode there is a root. Okay, in the 7 mode, you have to type all the commands. In the cluster mode, there is a autocomplete, right? Once you type, if you have to type the storage, you can type STO and hit tab. It will autocomplete that. Okay, so these are the differences between 7 mode and cluster mode. I hope this will be helpful for you. Okay, this is a very popular question that interviewer normally asks. So I hope if you explain in this manner, I believe that interviewer will understand that you have good knowledge on the NetApp. Right, he will be right. Okay, so stay tuned. If you like that video, if you have any question, if you have any query, just comment below in the comment section. Right, like, subscribe, and share with the person who is interested to learn the NetApp, who's who's participating in the interview, who's preparing for the interview in the NetApp. Right, to share with those guys. Okay, if you want to know more about this, about our trainings, you can explore netappguru.com. Right, you can join our WhatsApp channel as well for more update. Right, that link is in description. Right, so see you there in the WhatsApp group. Right, thank you very much. See you and best of luck.